Yeah, you see all this video equipment? Yeah, this is my wife's stuff. Anyway, her ambitions to be a video recorder. Whatever, point is, she's a micromanager. The best way to micromanage something is getting video editing. That's the reason why I'm even here right now. I didn't even really want to do this, to be honest. But it's a pandemic, right? Y'all know what else we really got to do. And as you can see, this is basically a school in here. Look at this. Remember, I was joking about the TA part thing. Like, give credit to the teacher, but I'm like, can I get a quarter of that check? I guess the government says that that's through the unemployment or whatever, but I don't know. And yeah, so here me and Des are doing a faux pas interview in our home on a random Wednesday. It's December 30th, the eve of New Year's Eve, and I know that everyone's ready to get out of here, but be careful of looking for tomorrow to be better than today if you're not making today better for tomorrow. Because if you listen to the year that's following 2020, if you're going with that mindset, it's 2021. Don't let 2020 win. 2020 is a definitive year, but it's on you to how you let it define you. John, Nicholas, Ebony. 3 reasons why I'm now a preschool teacher and day teacher, and my reasons for doing a lot of things throughout these precarious seasons. Probably the winners of 2020 are my kids, because they're lucky to have gotten so much of a full-time dad. I'm the gift. I should have put myself under the Christmas tree this year. This pandemic, right? What's the new gold in 2020? Wipes and toilet paper. Coronavirus has done a lot. Oh. Let me fix this. Isn't my job. Obviously, we have poor amateurs. Video recording professionals. They don't know how to tighten their equipment. All right. Bloopers and all. We're going to get through this. Pandemic. Pros. Number 1. Stay at home. Number 2, not have to wear pants because you're staying at home. Number 3, dang, I gotta figure out some pros for the pandemic. Oh, pro number 3, more free time to figure out personal interests and skills. Pro number 4, spend time with immediate family in your house. Pro number 5, you know a bunch of other people are struggling in the same thing that you are. Okay. Cons, you're struggling. Other people are struggling too. 2, not a lot of fun things to do outside of the host that involve socialization. Sometimes I miss people. I don't like y'all that much, but I miss you just enough. 3, a lot of people are getting sick and their lives are being uprooted and destroyed, and businesses that they built for years are just going under, and that's pretty sad. 4, did I say kids are out of school? Because that's a big one for me. 5, whatever we thought was normal isn't as normal as we thought. Depending on who you are, that's a pro or a con. So I don't know. I think 2020, if anything, these pros and cons that I'm trying to create is really, I don't know. Now, the biggest thing for those with parents now, I know everyone likes to have a good time, go out partying, club. I wouldn't know. It's been a while since I've done that. Once again, my oldest is 6. Still know how to get down and have fun, but we've adjusted it considering familial circumstances or whatnot. Don't get twisted. I can still get down. But what's really went down has been difficult for, I'm sure, a lot of parents, and myself included, was dealing with the closure of schools. So we're used to getting all of our memories in person, right? You know, first day of school outfits, you all gussied up, saucy, looking forward to shooting the breeze with your friends, checking out the lay of the land, which teachers you like, which teachers you don't like. What's your favorite lunch? Pizza. What's the worst lunch? Sloppy Joes. I don't know. I like them. But I'm learning to have to understand and not to project what I expected my learning and school experience to be for myself and my peers when we were coming up in comparison to what my son's now dealing with. And the distance learning has had a learning curve, fortunately not a steep one, as we've now gotten used to the schedule of. First of all, let's talk about the pros and cons of distance learning. Pros: you get to oversee what your child's learning more closely than ever before. You don't have to get up and go out and endure traffic or the weather as much. Those are bonuses. Obviously, during a pandemic, you're not having to worry about their health and them getting sick. That's also a bonus. The cons: socialization, obviously. I can't be everything to my kid. And honestly, I really don't want to be. And I feel like it does them a disservice because they don't get to experience other people's, lives. You don't get to experience what you like about someone, what you don't like about somebody. You don't get to be taught. Another con: you got to take direction from somebody else other than your parent. I've had plenty of coaches and other mentors outside of my parents, and without them, I wouldn't be who I am today. So that's one of the things I've also maybe have to check my projections on my kids. I'm sure he's still getting it from his teacher, but just in a way that I'm not familiar with, at least not at that age. I mean, now in college, distance learning is nothing. If anything, we prefer it because I'm not trying to waste the gas and the time, and because the parent needs to go and learn what I can learn and read in a book. But kids just need that extra social element, because everyone can't work from home. All work doesn't require you to work from home. I was in construction trades. I was in warehousing. And those things require you to be present where you're at. You got to go to where the work is. So for those who are doing those jobs and are essential employees and still having kids in school, I mean, especially young ones and even older ones, for those that are reckless and crazy, I mean, more power to you. That's tough. And I hope you're dealing with that all right, because, these are uncharted territories and we're all operating as pioneers right now. So now, that's for those who are work. Now, for those who are unemployed, I'm sure that's equally as stressful, not having work and then having to be at home with your kid, but you can't go seek work because you're at home trying to be a TA for your kid. Now, people are getting money from EDD and that boost helped, and hopefully those who got that boost, they invested it properly and saved for, your essential needs. Since you're not operating in the field as an essential employee, I hope some people took this time to slow down and see what it is they're really trying to build for themselves and their family and how they can do it. So the thing is, even if they say there's no work or all these job losses, there's always jobs and opportunity for the initiated. And if you engage with what's around you and what you know yourself to be capable of and what you're willing to do, there's always work available. And if there's not, you create it. But that aside, the government, us being a first world country, we got to help our people. That's just the bottom line, regardless of what the conditions, where the money comes from. If we can conjure up money and bail out corporations that are considered people, man, we can bail out the backbone of your nation, which is all the unpaid labor and child rearing and just not causing trouble and having your hands engaged in something in community or whatever. There's a lot of ways to get things done, and it all needs to be paid for to where someone doesn't feel like they're operating out of desperation, which creates crime, which is a business in itself, which leads me to the protests. Yikes. Now, police, right? We all have to follow rules and orders and boundaries, man. It's being disciplined is an age-old thing. Police force ain't new to America. Now, it's implementation. That's different. In this era, we got all these new tools and toys, and You're not faster than a radio. You're not stronger than a uniformed, well-armed, standing army, right? So we know we're not going to contest them head on like that. So with any powerful entity having leverage or advantage, the most sensible thing to do is to operate with compassion. And obviously we didn't see much compassion in a lot of old wounds that have never been resolved or addressed have been stirred up to the global community, all the way from Africa, which is where our origins are, right? Ding, ding, ding. Africa. All the way up to Asia, to Europe. Even let's get over here, man, to Australia, down under. And of course, where the epicenter is at of these protests, right home here in North America. In both the Americas, I like to include them because there's a lot of stuff going on here too that influences what's going on here. As we're all on one ball, spinning out of control, in a ball of confusion, as the Temptations would say. So, well, through all that though, I've been trying to work in peace. Like I said, try to tap into my own skills and interests. Obviously, I'm now a part-time TA, everything around me, which is okay, because I always thought I was a pretty good teacher and coach, and still think I am. My kids are giving me the opportunity to demonstrate that. Look at all this stuff up here. See these numbers and things? Yeah, I bought that. Well, me and my wife bought it, but I looked it up and I made the decision. Anyway, she's doing her thing too. We work as a team. But I'm working on myself and developing my skills. Like I said, I like warehousing in the trades and work with my hands. I could cry, woe is me. I wish I had exposure earlier, like into CNC machining and programming, which is giving me a run for my money, but I'm interested in it, so I'm going to weather the storm. Just like Desiree's interested in all these camera equipment, fancy, expensive camera equipment. But eventually, any tool in the long run will pay for itself if you're initiated with it and you're willing to make an effort, even if it's not necessarily financial, if it's spiritual and fulfills you. Sometimes that in and of itself, to fill out the long void of these days that sometimes can feel never ending, or if you don't see anything positive, or stay away from the news cycle too, if it's because it can poison you, think that things are worse than they are when they're not, and have you blocking your own blessings by not seeing the silver lining in your situation. So the silver lining in my situation was me being in a comfortable enough space to try and have the opportunity to create my own entrepreneurial efforts, as I'm even working with my wife as she's doing her entrepreneurial efforts in video recording. So I'm trying to make art, man. We all love art, especially in these times, right? Netflix, Hulu, how much streaming have we all been consuming? We like to consume art through performance and visual. So I'm just trying to help with the visual arts or practical arts. You don't just buy a car, based on the mileage and things like that. You also want that curbside appeal, same as with your house. So the arts are important, and we all need to see ourselves reflected in it. And I'm just trying to provide my contribution, my talent, my interests in making art that's personal, customized, that isn't just brought off an assembly line, because we all feel like John Henry now these days, and being a man versus the machine. But at the end of the day, no man should ever put their life on the line to compete with something that they'll never beat. So work alongside the machines, work alongside the change, but don't try to defeat, or stay rooted in where you're at against the change, because you're gonna find yourself on a slippery slope of either illusions of grandeur or delusions. Either way, you're setting yourself up for failure. Today and tomorrow's tips: find some place to sit in silence. I think that's very important. Get away from all the noise. Tip number 2, go for a walk, get some sunlight, a little bit of exercise. It doesn't have to be super extraneous, but a little bit goes a long way. Tip number 3, obviously, wash your hands, wear a mask. Even if you think you're not sick, or you don't think it's real or not, it's just a courtesy sake. It's really not gonna hurt you. You can breathe just fine. I've worn some pretty hefty respirators, and these little flimsy masks, you'll be alright. Unless you won't be, then go consult with your doctor. Tip number 4 kind of goes with tip number 3. Health. Eat healthy. Of course, I love me some McDonald's or Carl's Jr. every now and again, and once again, DoorDash is only a click away. But how? You want to support local? Support your local grocery store. Support your local kitchen. Your kitchen that you pay for. You pay rent for that. Learn to cook. That's what the pro tips, the downtime. Learn a skill. Cook. Tip number, I don't know where we're at. Here, just another tip. Even if you're not going out anywhere, dress up for yourself. Look good. You got that wardrobe full of clothes and them scents and something. Have a house party, man. Come on. That was the movie of the 90s for some folk. I liked it. I came up with it. I got good nostalgia. You can have your own fun at home. Look good for yourself. You matter too. Another tip. Learn to agree to disagree. There's a lot of arguments and discussions on Facebook and media. Are you really going to try to die on a hill against a stranger you don't know? And have that take up your day and suck up the air in the room for those who you're around and actually occupying and putting influence? Don't let the robots take over like that. That's a real lame way to lose yourself. Next tip. Do what feels right in the moment. Don't always feel like you're pressed for a calendar. And really be careful with your projections. Do a lot of inner work. That leads back to the first thing, sitting in silence. Sit in silence, do some inner work. Write things out. Keep a journal. Stay off of the news feed. And if you do get into the news feed, find something that feeds whatever it is you found within yourself as you were sitting in silence. You see all the tips, they come back together if you follow them in no particular order. But definitely get dressed before you leave the house. That's all I gotta say. I know pajamas is a fashion. I even rocked them at one point. Sometimes comfort. Do it. Do you. Once again, these are all subjective, just my perspective, man. I don't know that much. This is 2020, right? As far as we go, nearly anything goes. Feels like anarchy. But know that you got other people that are gonna think and do things different than you, and just try to be patient. Graciousness is universal and should always be practiced. And love. If you're gracious and loving, then everything else kind of just falls into place. Work or otherwise. Peace out. Take these tips to the top. Top tips. Tippity top. Tip top shape. Mount Everest, right here. Wait, right here. Mount Everest. Getting to the top. Globalization. One world, one love. Universe, one song. Sing along. Even if your voice isn't that strong, you have one, and that's okay. Speak in peace, walk in peace. I'm gonna work in peace. John Fox. Found to work in peace. Holla at your boy.
I was able to get the rough outline for the most part, but I just got a bunch of cleanup work in there that I gotta do. I really like this wood, man, the way it's cutting. You gotta respect every centimeter of it.